So what you working on, Bob? Howdy, David. Hopefully you can hear me.
An LJ.
An LJ.
Yeah.
You like LJs.
Yep.
Loud and clear, David says. Okay.
Okay, good.
LJs.
So,
well, one of our favorite things I see.
You know, we have our project, one of the fall projects we're doing. This one kind of got dumped in our lap with a bunch of parts already purchased and no one to figure out how to put it together, so it's here. So we're figuring it out. We have
Okay, David. Thank you. I'll pay attention. The button is being kind of funky. Well, because it's giving me a red light, so we're going to mean not be able to do this for a long time. It must not be charged long enough. Just go with it. Talk about it.
So take the thing out because that blocks the audio.
All right, then you just got to talk loud. There. We're going to do it that way.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
So it's a hodgepodge of manufacturers all going into one Jeep because the customer read a bunch of stuff on Instagram and decided to order a bunch of parts that may or may not work in unison.
Okay. So
And
what are some of the things you're putting on?
So we did our steering stretch, which I'll come back to. We did our body lift mount system. That all worked. So we get to the suspension. Won't name who they are, but it's made in New York, so you do the math. That does not play with our body lift, so we had to modify the suspension part because the body lift was already installed. We did typically on these builds, we do all the body lift fabrication first. So not being familiar with said New York made parts, when we went to put their belly pans suspension mounting system on, it had to get modified.
Is that normally a bolt-on? I see there's welds there now.
Well, that's the bolt-on. According to their instructions, the bolt-on is the option. No, the bolt-on's the way you're supposed to do it. Weld-on is the option.
Oh.
Well, I chose to weld it. It's not obviously fully welded yet because my back has been giving me grief, and hunching under this Jeep
I assume
really is not a good spot for
you
me.
can still get at critical things.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the transmission is mounted to the skid plate. So to take the skid plate out, you have to have a jack with you if you were going to service this in the field.
Tanner Daniel wants to join the video.
Is he with said
Yeah.
person from New York?
No, he's with a few others, though. He called me. He's with Justin and Sergio and those others. So hang in there, Tanner. Maybe when we're done through this, we'll give you a few minutes in St. George.
The axles were ordered from East Coast Gear Supply, I do believe. Seems to be really good quality stuff. Put together well, heavy components. The customer at least had the foresight to order stripped housings, no bracketry.
Oh, he says no.
No what?
Tanner says no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that helps us because we just have to cut all of their brackets off anyway because nothing's going to be in the right place.
Okay.
So we have what is billed as a 4-inch stretch, which in reality is about 7. So as you can see here, the stretch corners from California company, not naming names, as I've always said, can't run one of these. So we're putting 40-inch tires on it. They're built to take why would you stretch an LJ if you're not going to put at least 40-inch tires on it? And as delivered from the factory, you might put a 33 in that wheel opening, maybe. So we made a template. That is what has to die. So we will be cutting that out as soon as we get suspension
Center.
where we can cycle
Yeah.
it. So we're not going to cut anything. That template may have to adjust one way or the other a little bit, but that's based on where our current axle center line is, and that's a 42-inch diameter opening versus 33 or 4 or whatever they thought was a good idea.
Sergio and Justin will join whenever you're done the LJ.
We also relocated with our kit the rear gas tank, because that same California company says you can do a 7-inch stretch with this gas tank, and you can't get there from here. Our relocation kit for the gas tank moves it back 5 inches.
Where is that? Under there, so I can kind of show
It's
people.
this here.
Okay, yeah, I see. I spy. There we go. Yep.
So we cut the factory cross member out and put ours in, which gains you about 2 inches of up travel potential, which you need with the New York really tall truss. So
There is kind of a big gap
yeah,
on that
it's
truss.
kind of redunculous.
Yeah, that's really different from ours.
So anybody that can work one of these, this point has moved back 5 inches. That's what an LJ gas tank is. It's 5 inches forward in the chassis because there's 5 inches more length in the body versus a TJ. So by taking that out and moving the gas tank to the rear cross member, which is where a TJ gas tank is mounted, it moves 5 inches. It's simple math. Well, when you measure this point, 5 inches would barely clear the axle tube, but the problem is the axle is 7 inches back of where it was, so if the gas tank was in the factory location, this
wouldn't
corner
clear.
is the bump stop.
Yeah, you wouldn't clear
You
it.
can't get there from here.
Yeah.
So obviously we're capable of making cool parts and building cool Jeeps. So we put our gas tank relocation kit in to solve that problem.
We've done that a few times on
we do it
LJs.
a lot.
Yeah, and anybody can buy that from us because that
It's
is
a
a kit.
simple install.
Yeah.
The removal of the factory piece is the complicated part because it's multiple layers welded together and you kind of got to fish them out one at a time with the torch. But once it's out, the new piece goes right in. You bolt it into the body mounts. It kind of self-lines itself and you weld it in. It's really easy. So we're still playing with suspension mounts. That's why you see the pogo under this rear control arm, because we got no rear control arm mounts with this kit. But we're also mixing in, grab the coilover mount. We're also mixing in our coilover mounting system, which, as most of you know, I put my coilovers
In the
on
front.
the front side of the axle, not back here. So we were going to have to build lower mounts anyway.
Heard a rumor Austin wants to switch his to be that way.
So this is our rear coilover mount for the LJ. It goes somewhere in that neighborhood, obviously Frenched into the frame to the back of the frame, which then puts the coilover running here. So Jason is currently working on a lower control arm mount to facilitate
The
control
coilover
arm
mount.
and
Coilover.
mount for the coilover. So we should have them this afternoon and pretty much have the rear suspension buttoned up by Thursday,
Sweet.
I would think.
Sweet.
And then we get to move to the front. And
That truss doesn't come down any lower, huh?
nope, it is what it is. And it has
Wow.
very minimal weld surface. It's
Just the axle
Not-
tube.
great.
It's not like we do ours.
But
Totally different from ours.
we know how to weld around here and we will do our
Oh,
best
so
to
they
make
don't
this
have
thing.
mounts on top. They just
No.
run a bolt through.
No, that's the other inherent flaw in this New York kit is the bolts run vertical.
Ours goes
both
side to
ends
side.
of the upper control arm.
Ah.
So the deflection in the joint is the limit of your travel.
Yeah.
Which
That makes sense.
will be okay, because the way our coilover system works, you get a 10-inch coilover gives you about 12 and a half inches of movement here, and at that movement, you won't hurt them joints. They won't bind.
Okay.
They'll be close, but they won't bind.
Perfect.
Then we get to move to the front and rebuild the entire system. So,
Hey, it's completely gone.
right. So we did our steering relocation kit. Since this is an LJ, it has the Mercedes style box, which is junk. I'm just gonna tell it to you the way it is. So we converted to a 4-bolt Saginaw box. That will allow us to move that monstrosity.
Whoa, ain't that pretty?
About 3 inches forward, because it is a big honking Dana
What
60.
is that? Oh, Dana 60. What are them orange things?
Reed knuckles,
Wow.
both inner and outer knuckles. This
Wow.
is a bitchin' front end. It's about as bulletproof as
Bomb-proof,
you can make
bulletproof, yeah.
a front end, other
Wow.
than putting RCVs in it.
That's,
So customers spec'd out a really good front end, but it's really big.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we will get about 3 inches of stretch with this front end. I might be able to push 3.5.
Because it's so big.
The New York front suspension is not capable of that much stretch.
Oh,
So
they don't have,
we only have like that much thread engagement to start with.
right, and they're
So
not like
there's-
us that you can buy a stretch end,
Right, it's a
which we can do.
so we will
Newcomer.
probably have to fabricate all new
What
front.
engine does or will it have?
Currently, it's a 4-liter. When this phase of the project is done and he gets a few miles on it and recovers financially, phase 2 is a LS swap.
Okay.
So
Tanner, are you still there? Should we still?
that's kind of what's
Switch.
going on around the shop. Is we're making an LJ out of parts that it's kind of like a Johnny Cash.
Now, normally, TNT doesn't take projects that have
That is correct.
a million different parts already bought. That is not, we are not promoting that in any way, shape, or
Do
form.
not
But
show up with a trailer with
we
a
were helping
Jeep
out
and a truck full of
another shop and a guy that already had stuff, so this is where it's at. So,
because we are capable of making it work. This,
Okay.
if this was done in your garage, good luck.
yeah.
That's all I can say.
All right, so now let's see what we can find out with Tanner. Accept. Add.
If you don't know, Tanner is down at Metro
Yeah.
in St. George.
Adding. I gotta see with my bifocals. So Tanner, we're adding you, and maybe we'll see some of the other people he has and what he's got going on down there. Hopefully,
One thing I forgot to turn it back around.
okay.
I don't know if anybody was paying attention and saw this piece of 1-inch square tube sticking here. I think it's in the instructions. If not,
Request again, Tanner.
I'll add it. Before you cut this front end apart, when you do the steering stretch, whatever you got. I like square tube because it's nice and flat and it's easy to work with. Piece of angle iron will work. Round tube, but if that's all you got, make it work. Weld that in before you cut any of this front apart so the frame doesn't go kaboing,
Oh yeah,
kaboing,
that makes
or
sense.
whatever, because if there are no cross members forward of the transmission system in a TJLJ, and when you cut this apart, the weight of the 4-liter will push the frame.
Yep.
And you will play hell getting it back.
Yeah, I think
But this will hold, that
Not working,
system will
Tanner.
hold the frame pretty true. But you want to do this. It's just a little added tech tip for how we do things.
Because even after doing that, I still have to pull the frame back together.
Yeah, we still have to ratchet strap it a little bit.
Not bad. I had to just give it a little squeeze to get it back to factory dimension, even after putting that tube in. So they do move.
So favor, weld something in. It fits perfect right under the harmonic balancer. There's nothing in the way. You can get straight shot. You know, a piece of 2x2.
I requested you, Tanner, see if that works.
2x2 by quarter-inch angle iron or whatever square stock you got laying around. It's a nice flat spot on the frame right there. Just put it up there and zap it. It comes right off when we're done. Which we're done, but I had Nick leave that in there just so we could show that little tech tip for when you're doing this kit. It will save you a lot of
Yeah.
headaches.
You still don't get to that. Nope, it says rotate phone for some reason. Your phone or my phone? Oh,
Split.
Oh. If I do it now, though, that'll screw us up. Yeah. Sorry, we'll do that next time, I guess. Or I can hang up and I can do a new live just to see what you're doing down in St. George. We could do a new quick video. Let's do that, Tanner. We'll finish up this LJ. Say goodbye, Jason. And we'll tune in to Tanner in St. George. Hold on.